actually some of our disappointing turnovers were because we were being extremely unselfish. We decided to play with a smaller lineup. We didn't know if we'd play the game with a smaller lineup or parts of the game, but this small lineup did a really good job on the defensive glass. If I'm not mistaken, we set a record for ourselves. I want to say 82% defensive rebounds the first half. So in the past, Air Force has knocked us around pretty well on the glass, and that was probably the two biggest areas: moving the ball, not letting it stick, and finding our buddy. And then on defense, really trying to get them one shot and only one shot.
Well, Larry, you said a lot where it could be a different guy at a different night, and we saw what Josh can do, but Jeremy tonight, 4 threes, did some good things. How big was that for him, and how big were his contributions tonight?
Well, a couple of the guys that came in, Gorski's been struggling since his injury, just what he does best, moving the ball and making shots. Those two guys did a really good job. They played, again, with a little inner arrogance. We were ready to put either one of our two centers in the game, but because we were doing a good job defensive rebounding, we didn't want to touch it. And all high school games, college games, pro games, I sort of get a kick out of people writing about it once in a while. All those games have runs. There's never been a basketball game. You got two, I got two, you got two, and then after 2.5 hours, the game's over. This game also had some runs. Thank goodness we finally got the last one. We've been on the short end 4 times this year where the other team got the last run, and we played our tails off and didn't get to learn anything from winning. We just had to learn from losing.
Okay, you mentioned it's good to be home. It's been a long time. So before the game, you said hi to the security guard, long time no see sort of thing. It's all the familiarity and guys sleeping in their own beds. How much does that maybe help or change things?
Well, life on the road is different. And in college basketball, I think it equates to 74%. I believe 74% of home teams win every night. So there is an equation there. But we needed that. And I thought in June we would need that, in fairness. We could pad, we could maybe play, like some people, 10 home games and 3 on the road. I just don't think it would have prepared us to go to San Diego State or go to New Mexico State or even go to Nevada. And so there are no regrets, but yes, it was refreshing to be here. I really appreciate the people who did come on a Wednesday night, and hopefully, we'll need a little support against the Rebels on Saturday afternoon.
How big was it? You mentioned, teams sometimes would go on the runs late to edge you guys out, but when Air Force went on that run where you're up 50, and I think they cut it to 1, but you never lost the lead, and then were able to respond with the run yourself. How big of a step was that for this group?
I think it was a big step, and we've done that to other people. We've been down to Cal, I believe 10 or 11 points with 4 to go. We've been down to San Diego State 25-7. We've been down at Nevada double digits, and we've always fought back and then just not quite had enough in the tank, and that may be what happened tonight. But it was sure nice, as I told them at halftime, before the game, and just now, it's all about learning this year. And we dedicated ourselves to make it about learning. But it's a whole hell of a lot nicer to learn when you win than learn when you don't win. So they put a little something in their pocket. We got a little late breakfast, we could sleep in a little bit, and then we turn the page, and it's the Rebels.
Josh at the end there got his double-double. I don't know if you caught that, if you were shaking hands at that point. Did you see what happened at all?
I didn't.
I don't know. Should I be the one to tell him? He went up for purposely missed a layup so he could grab a board and get his 10th rebound, but his second career double-double, I guess. I guess it's good to see him producing stuff.
It's a good thing I was shaking hands.
Larry, back to Jeremy. I mean, I know he's started 5 games. It's not like he hasn't played, but we know he's capable of shooting. I'm sure you've seen it in practice, but how big was it to see it in a game? How big was that for him?
Probably the word that comes to mind for Jeremy is relief, because he knows he can, and he does do a good job at practice, but there's nothing like knocking him in a conference game when you need it. And I'm happy for him in that regards. But I thought all of our guys had an edge about them defensively, and I thought Al and Tim prepared them really well for 2.5 days. Here's what they do best. Let's try to remove some of this, because they were on I think a 5-game win streak. So they were on a pretty good run themselves. It was a good night. it was no better or no more horrible than some of the disappointing nights. And this is what's important in conference play. You know, there are going to be wars. We are not built to beat people by 30 points. I'd love to see it. If that's not the case, we got to embody, we got to enjoy wars every night. And this is a team who showed us now 16 straight times they're going to be in ball games. We just got to win our share.
Would you really like defensively to hold them to 52? You talked about